Infiniti has revealed its What If Prototype 9 race car ahead of the festivities of the Monterey Car Week. We must admit, for a flight of fancy what might have been Grand Prix racer, this thing is pretty cool. The concept started with the idea of running across a forgotten race car in a barn in the Japanese countryside. From there, Alfonso Albaisa, Senior Vice President, Global Design, made a design sketch inspired by roadsters and aircraft of the era. Soon, many on the design team were giving their input, and then word got out beyond the design team to production, who volunteered to build it. The project was moved to the Nissan Research Center in Apama, Japan, where a team of Takumi, the same mastercrafts people who build cars like the Nissan GT-R, set to building it. The Takumi literally hammered the bare metal steel body panels around a steel ladder frame sporting a 106.3-inch wheelbase. For the suspension, Infiniti chose period pieces. Up front is a leading arm rigid axle with a transverse leaf spring. Out back is a Dion axle with another transverse leaf spring. The steering isn't power-assisted, and the brakes aren't boosted, though discs are found at all four corners. The tires are cross-ply 450-19 fronts and 650-19 rears mounted on center-locking wire wheels. For the interior, the Takumi chose the best materials and tailored them to bring out their best characteristics. They chose black leather with red contrast stitching and sewed Japanese flags into the seat. We'll ignore for now that Japan was an Axis power during this era. When Nissan Motor Corporation's powertrain engineers heard about the project, the Prototype 9 took a left turn. Instead of a period internal combustion engine, they went with a modern electric powertrain. In fact, this power plant has yet to be used in any Nissan or Infiniti car. It consists of a 30 kWh battery teamed with a prototype electric motor that produces 148 horsepower and 236 pound-feet of torque. The power is sent to the rear wheels via a single-speed transmission. Weighing in at just 1,962 pounds, Infiniti says the Prototype 9 has a top speed of 105.6 mph, can sprint from 0 to 62 mph in 5.5 seconds, and can handle 20 minutes of heavy track use before running out of juice. Infiniti isn't saying how many miles it can drive at highway speeds. The Prototype 9 will make its public debut this week at the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance. It will be shown alongside a real race car from Infiniti parent Nissan's past, the Prince R380 of the 1960s.
Infiniti is far from the first luxury automotive brand to show off an electric car concept in the wake of fending off Tesla and other startups, but Nissan's upscale division has taken the 2018 Leaf's heart and run in a very different direction. This is the Infiniti Prototype 9, a design concept due to be shown this week at the 2017 Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance near Monterey, California. But under the vintage-looking clothes of the Prototype 9, lies a powertrain from the 2018 Nissan Leaf. A 148-horsepower electric motor, with 236 pound-feet of torque, and a 30 kWh battery, powers the rear wheels through a single-speed transmission, according to Infiniti. Interestingly enough, that sounds a lot like the electric motor that's set to power the front wheels of the new Leaf, based on vehicle specifications that were leaked last week. Therefore, in this Infiniti design project, it's built as a next-generation EV powertrain. Still, its performance may bode well for the upcoming Nissan Leaf. Infiniti says their Prototype 9 has a top speed of 106 mph, with a 0 to 62 time of 5.5 seconds. Spend all your charge on a racetrack and Infiniti says the Prototype 9 should last up to 20 minutes, without actually giving a number of miles it might last. The Infiniti Prototype 9 is packing Nissan's newest EV technology under a striking body, mixing old and new. But why does it look like a 1940s road checker? After all, Infiniti doesn't have a mid-20th century racing history because it was a brand created in 1989. Alfonso Albaisa, Infiniti's Senior Vice President of Global Design, says the Prototype 9's look was inspired by the fantasy of chancing upon an unrecognized race car, hidden away for decades in a barn, deep in the Japanese countryside. Therefore, it bears a heavy resemblance to the German and Italian race cars from the 1930s and 40s, even if Infiniti's designers in Japan try to infuse cues from the brand's production cars in the front and sides. While the Infiniti Prototype 9 is a beautiful recreation of what the 1940s racing scene may have looked like if they'd been around to build a car, don't expect to be able to ever buy one. Yet, the technology underneath is destined for a Nissan dealership very soon.
Why I bought it. We fell into Subaru ownership after a disastrous episode with a C-Class Mercedes which was suffering from spontaneous, and as it turned out terminal, limp home mode disease. Eventually the garage took it back and as they're a Subaru specialist, sold us the legacy. I'm not entirely sure what would have happened had they been a Dacia dealer. What I wish I'd known. I wish I'd known how good they were years ago. It would have saved lots of bother. I also wish I'd known that you can't take the CD player out in isolation because it's now eaten 6 of my favorites. Hopefully the next owner will like New Order and ELO. When it eventually starts working again. I also wish I'd known that there's an even more powerful Spec B manual version as I might have held on for one of those. Things I love. It's a proper left-field car which I love. It has 4 pillarless doors, always a good start in my book, and is a massively capable high-speed tip visiting tool. After 97,000 miles it still feels really well screwed together, has super comfy heated seats, a lovely leathery interior and does a great job in family hauling mode. In 6 months it has cost not a penny in faults or maintenance and with its 4-wheel drive handles as though it's on the proverbial rails. Also, in a coolish, stealthy, handsome and understated sort of way I think it looks ace, and you certainly won't see another on your way to Waitrose. It also has a 245 horsepower 3.0-liter flat-six engine which sounds glorious. Never mind that it's an automatic, take it to the red line and it sings. It's worth the only 3.5 sheds money for the sound alone. I used to love the sound of my TVRs and this is up there. As well as that it serves as a constant reminder never to buy another diesel. Things I hate. Not hate exactly, but boy does it like a drink. I've never seen a fuel figure that begins with a 3. In fact, quite often, they start with a 1. We knew this prior to purchase and when it all gets a bit much we leave it at home and take the MX-5, or even better, the Renault Kangoo van. If I had to use it every day we wouldn't have bought it in the first place. Costs. Nothing apart from petrol. It's cheaper to insure than the Merc that limped before and not too bad to tax. 1 year younger and it would have been over £500 or whatever the top band is and that would have been a showstopper. It's due a service in Mo in November. The rear end feels a bit floaty, so it may need some new dampers, and the front brakes are on the way, so there may well be a bit of expenditure coming up. Where I've been. Just around and about South Wales and Herefordshire. Its favourite road is the A465 from Abergavenny to Hereford, which is also great on a bike if you've never tried it. It'll soon be off to MotoGP at Silverstone, so you may see it there. What next? Well, considering that I once kept a Civic Type R for only 3 weeks, it would be foolish of me to state here in writing that it's a keeper. But honestly, at this time, and because it's such a capable all-rounder, I can't see a reason to get rid. It isn't particularly a car that you look back at when you've parked up, but it's definitely got a grin-inducing sound, and for an old one is pretty sprightly, and that will do nicely for now.